So today we have Jasmine, the owner of Young Law Group, an incredible lawyer, mother of 5 children, and the founder of Women Decision Makers Group. It's amazing, Shane. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I love being in the Salt Room. It's just awesome to be in this atmosphere, and of you, of course, with your business and how you just have so many things going on in your life, and you include women, and it's just an honor to be.
And I was just inspired by you because you did your interview here, and I was like, that's a great idea. I should utilize the space.
Yeah, for women decision makers.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm so glad to have you here. Today, we'll be talking more about Shane. It's not about business. It's not about politics. It's just about women that inspire other women. So welcome. I would like to know, what did it feel like growing up like Shane? Walk us through your journey.
Well, I was the firstborn. I was born in New York. My dad went to NYU, and when he graduated, my family decided, my parents, to move to Texas. That's where he got a job. And my dad always had this entrepreneurial spirit. So I think that was kind of, a seed that was planted early on, because I saw his drive and dedication and the vision that he had. But when we moved here, I was very young. He moved for a job, and he started out as the CFO for a company, an airline, and decided to start his own airline. So he quit his job. He was the breadwinner for our family, quit his job and started his own airline, got financing, purchased airplanes, hired an attorney to make sure that things were taken care of the right way. And unfortunately, that attorney took advantage of him with the help of some other third parties, and they took the company away from my dad and ran it into bankruptcy. So as you can imagine, growing up in that type of environment and seeing my dad struggle and seeing these things happen, it really did shape me and the person that I became. And one of the things that my parents instilled in me was the value of education, and to make sure that you're able to make the best decisions for yourself and be empowered, and also to help people. And I think, seeing that and seeing how it directly impacted my family and my upbringing was what drove me to be really focused and, get good grades and, power through adversity when I faced my own challenges.
That's amazing. That's a great story. So basically from early age, you knew you were going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it started out with my dad being like, you've got to go to law school. And then...
Not many of us listened to that.
Right. But, I was the typical firstborn. I wanted to please, and I'm still like that, I think, to a certain extent. But it did take me some soul searching when I was in college on what I wanted to do going forward. I studied business, so I got my undergrad degree in business administration, and I was deciding close towards my graduation, did I want to go to law school or did I want to go into business instead? And one of the things that did kind of push me over the edge at the time, my grandmother had said, I really think that this is the path that you should go, and that was law school. And I thought about it, and I took the LSAT, and I decided, okay, I'll give it a go. I really had no idea what would actually happen. I had a plan, but you can have a plan and it can totally derail and go a different direction.
Very nice. So tell us a little bit about what makes you tick, right? Why do you wake up every morning? What motivates you? What really is it that you would do regardless if you made money or not? Like, what's the passion?
Well, you mentioned them earlier, actually, is my children, my 5 daughters. And, that was not something that I anticipated, 20 something years ago. I never thought I'd have 5 children, let alone 5 daughters. But I think for whatever reason, that was what was chosen for me. And I feel blessed to be their mother. And I think that what motivates me when it comes to them is I know they're looking at me. They're watching what I do.
Especially now that they're mostly teenagers, right?
Right, yeah. My youngest is 8, so they're 8, 10, 12, and then I have twins that are going to be 20 in August. I can't believe that. I'm going to have 20-year-old children.
If you don't look it, don't tell
I
me.
feel,
Cut that from the camera.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Shh. But yeah, they're really my motivation. And of course, my husband, we've been together since we were in high school, 16 years old, and we've grown up together, and we've had our ups and downs, and we continue to have our ups and downs, but he's my number one, he's my go-to. And, we've built this life together, and I want to set my children up to live their best lives and do whatever it is that will make them happy and bring joy to their lives.
That's amazing. And you are an amazing mother. I follow you on social media, and it's fun. It's like you dance with them, you fitness together, while you're running all these incredible things.
And I think it's important, especially for us as women. We have so many things to do in a day. And when you run your own business, that can be consuming. When you have a career, that can be consuming. Or if you're a stay-at-home mom, like, you're constantly doing things for others. And it's hard to balance that, right? And I think that sometimes we're so hard on ourselves because we feel like, oh, well, I'm dropping the ball here. I don't have enough time to do this. So that is one of the reasons why I try to include them in things that I do, that will be good for them. Yeah, good for them and good for me too. And we have that time together. So, and then they also learn, they learn a good work ethic, and they learn how to do things because they're alongside us watching.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. So what about a pivotal time in your life? Let's talk about, because here you are inspiring everybody. I've been to one of your events with over 100 women, and it's just incredible. They're all inspired by you. They look up to you. Tell us a pivotal time in your life where you could have broken. You could have. Like, it could have been adversity that could make you or break you.
Right.
And it made you.
Mm-hmm. Well, two points come to mind. One was when I was in college. Right. And I was getting ready to graduate. It was my last semester. So I had made the decision, okay, I'm going to go to law school. And so I just started my last semester of school at Pepperdine and found out I was pregnant. That's when I found out I was pregnant with my twins. And so my husband and I,
let alone twins.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't find out it was twins until I was almost 5 months. But, initially just finding out that I was pregnant, of course, my family was devastated. They were like, oh my gosh, you're never going to go to law school. You're never going to do, what's going to happen? I remember my mom asking me, are you even going to graduate? And I said, Mom, I have one semester. Like, what? But it was one of those things where, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And they were due, I was due with them in the fall, which is when I planned to start law school. So I had to make a decision, and I decided, okay, I'm still going to go to law school. I just have to put it off for a year. So I deferred my enrollment. I was supposed to go to Pepperdine's law school, but we decided to come home since our family's here. And I stayed home with Kyra and Shira for a year. On their first birthday is when I started law school here at the UNLV's law school, which was such a blessing because it was a new law school at the time, all those years ago. And they offered a part-time program. So I started in the part-time program and made it work. I stayed at home with the girls during the day while Charles worked, and then I went to school at night. But then I had to switch. It wasn't working for me. So the next semester I went to school during the day. He worked graveyard, and that's how we managed to do it. Right. And of course, with the support of our family, our extended family, our parents, they were able to help us. And then I would say the second pivotal point in my life, or another pivotal point that I wanted to mention, was just 2.5 years ago when I was working for a company. I was the general counsel. So I started my legal career working for a big firm, and I stayed in private practice for about 10 years. And then I got the opportunity to go in-house as the general counsel of a company. And I learned so much during that process, that 2.5 years there, marketing, sales, of course, the legal side, but just how to run a business. And I knew that the company was going to be sold, or that things were going to happen. We weren't thinking it was going to happen until January. But in June of 2017, I got laid off. And so, that day I came home and I was like, okay, well, let me see, let me see what other jobs I could go get. because, I was the breadwinner for our family at that point, and I just didn't know how to function without a paycheck, we had gotten so used to this, type of lifestyle, a regular paycheck, where I knew we would be able to pay our bills. And so I guess I spent about 30 minutes looking on LinkedIn, and then I just thought, okay, well, we've been talking about opening our own firm. Like, maybe this is the time. Let's just do it. Right. And Charles was like, duh. He'd been telling me for years, like, we got to do this. We got to do this. And so that was kind of the pivotal point as far as my direction and our direction, as a family, with opening, our law firm, which is a family business. Exactly. My husband is not a lawyer, but he does the marketing, the operations. So
clearly you can do it without him.
Right? I'm the lawyer, but he makes me look good.
Exactly.
And that's been really one of the greatest blessings in our lives, is, in addition to obviously our family life and our home life, is being able to build a business together that we enjoy, that we both have our own lanes and we're able to collaborate. And I appreciate the work that he does, and I see him in a totally different light. And I know the same,
that's
for
definitely
him.
Incredible, because, a lot of people can't, they can't even get along at home, let alone do business
Right.
together.
Yeah. And I can see how, couples or even family members that go into business, I see it all the time with clients,
right,
where,
you're
they
in the line of business. But.
Right. Yeah. They go into business and things are going well, and then there's something that happens, and it can cause rifts in relationships and business as well.
For sure. Clearly, you're a very strong woman, and adversity seems like has got nothing on you. What would you give advice for our new generation, or women who have been suppressed a little bit, right? The ones that always had the dream and never really pursued it, and because we have a lot of monkeys in our head that
Right.
just don't let us proceed. So what would be your big advice for them?
I would say one thing is to surround yourself with people that support you and uplift you. I've had people in my life that have been good and bad. Even people that are very close to me that have dragged me down. And I've had to learn how to distance myself from that and that energy, and to be able to love from afar. I love you, but I just can't have you, disrupting my peace. So I think that that's really important, is having that circle of people that really are your supporters, your advocates, the people that are your champions. Mm-hmm. That's really important. And that's one of the reasons why I started Women Decision Makers, is to bring together women to support one another,
exactly,
to collaborate, to be resources professionally, personally. So really getting into those types of relationships, environments is number one. It's important. Also to have confidence in yourself. I think as women, more so than men, men will be like, oh yeah, I can do it. And they may not have the skill or the knowledge, and yet they come off with this, their ego or the attitude of confidence or arrogance sometimes. But I think for women, we second guess ourselves a lot, and we need to stop doing that. And we need to have the confidence and the love in ourselves, and just know we need to get out of our own way. And I've had to do that. I know you've probably had to do that at different points in your life, where you're the one that's holding yourself back, and you need to get that
way.
Yeah, get out of your own way, get your mindset, get that negative self-talk out of your head, and really focus on what it is that you want and how do you go about achieving it. Sometimes goals can seem overwhelming, like, okay, well, I want to start a business, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, and it seems so far-fetched. Right. But a goal, it's just a matter of breaking it down. Yeah, taking that first step. It's so important. So that would be my advice.
Very true. Thank you so much for that. So who inspires you? I bet, we all have some inspirational figures, maybe historical, maybe celebrity that, sort of keeps us going, motivates us. And who is that for you?
One would be J-Lo. Because I looked at the Super Bowl performance, and I thought, and Shakira, of course, but J-Lo, I thought, okay, if she can do that at 50, okay, there is hope for all of us. But one of the inspirational women in my life personally that I've had, from the day that I was born, is my aunt. Her name's Rosanna, and she is the firstborn of 8 children that my grandmother had. and born in Guyana. My family comes from Guyana. That's where my parents were born and raised. They immigrated to the States, and she was always just a go-getter, strong businesswoman. She never allowed anyone to tell her she couldn't do it, but yet she had this strength and this motivation, but there's also this softness to her where she'll give you the shirt off of her back. She's so generous. She's so giving. Sometimes I have to tell her, like, you need to stop. Like, you need to do something for yourself, because she's constantly giving for others. But she's also taught me to make self-love and self-care a priority as well. So, you know, we tell each other, like, you know, you've got to go do something nice for yourself and make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Doesn't they remind us to.
Right. You know. But I've seen, you know, she's in her 70s now. She's still probably one of the busiest people I know. She's always going to events and speaking.
Seems like it runs in the family.
Right. I know. I guess that's where I get it from, you know. But yeah, she's definitely the one that has inspired me to keep going and to overcome the challenges that we face. And, you know, we create our opportunities. And, you know,
challenges are just that, challenges.
Right.
You know, they're meant to be overcome, right?
Exactly. And, you know, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Exactly. So talk about self-care. You mentioned that you guys push each other to self-care. Do you have a power routine? Is there something that you do to keep motivated? Because every time I look at you, you're just a ball of fire. You know, there's never a dull moment. And there's got to be somewhere that energy source that comes from, you know?
Yeah. So one of the things that's important for me and my mental state, my mental and physical, is working out. And I'm not one of those people that like works out, you know, 2 hours a day, that type of thing. But I try to make it a part of my weekly routine. And I would like to go work out every day, or at least do an hour or something, 30 minutes. But that's not always possible. So during the week, pretty much, you know, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or actually, no, Monday and Wednesday, I try to go to the gym. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, sometimes it's a combination of just a couple of days. I go to yoga.
I love it.
And I do hot yoga. And I think that that's the balance with where I'm able to kind of go and clear my mind and, you know, include some meditation. So it's the mental health and also the physical aspect that I really love about that. And it's been different things, you know, throughout my life. Sometimes it's playing basketball. You know,
Right.
I've played regularly for, you know, since I was in high school. And I think it's just making time to do things that you enjoy, that are good for you.
Right.
Another thing that I do is I just try to take time, you know, even if it's 5 minutes,
Right.
to just refocus and clear my head. And, you know, it might be meditation, and being intentional about what I'm doing instead of letting people drag me in different directions, because that can happen easily.
It can easily happen.
You know, it's like really setting yourself up and being able to say, okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how my day is going to go. And then doing things like coming to the salt room. You know, I told you the last time that I was here, it's amazing the difference that I feel in just being in this room. And you know, taking time to do those
Just
things.
pause, right?
Yeah, to take a few minutes and do something good for yourself, because that's how we recharge and we're able to continue to do all the things that we're destined to do. And that we want to do, and be the people that we need to be, you know, for ourselves and for the others in our lives that depend on us.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being my guest today. It was an honor to have you. Until next time.